This is video number 3 on the ES 2016 model. Right now I'm going to go over the features of the steering wheel. Now the steering wheel has gotten greatly improved, and what we've done is we've created a little bit wider stance of where the palms would fit in to the steering wheel for a much more aggressive feeling steering wheel. We do have that beautiful wood that wraps all the way around, as well as down on the lower parts of the steering wheel. Now what has changed? Well, we've changed quite a bit. We have our volume controls, our track controls, our mode button has moved, and the voice switch is over on the left side. Back on the 2013, 14, and 15 models, the voice switch would have been on the opposite side of the steering wheel. You have your off hook switch right here to answer any phone calls, and your hang up button in case if you do choose to not want to pick up the phone and let the phone call go to voicemail. As we move on over, we have the new integrated multi-information display, and you're going to see that in between the tachometer and the speedometer, and that's this information right in here. And when I use this information, you're going to see very much the same kind of information you find on the new IS. When I use the downward arrow, you're going to see range of 306 miles, after reset of 8 miles an hour, and you're going to see after refueling, miles per gallon. After start, we've been in the car technically 25 minutes getting this video ready. Eco indicator, your overall tire pressure monitor system, your sway warning control, and then if I use the right or left arrows, you're going to see at the very top a little menu at the top here that's going to give you different choices. Now if I move it over, we have our compass, audio controls. Now the neat thing is, when I have the audio on, I can select FM, satellite, disc, USB, auxiliary, and AV. And when I choose one, I'm just going to go ahead and choose FM. And the nice thing about it is, there are all my stations. There's all my stations that show up. And I'm going to turn the volume down. And what's nice about it is, as a driver, you're not having to shift your focus over to the center stack of the vehicle to see what radio station you're on. As well as you can simply hit the talk switch, which is another nice feature, and I can say to the car,
please say a command.
Tune to preset number 3.
Tune to preset 3.
And now it's 96.3. It's kind of nice because I'm not having to really even use the buttons over here. I can use my voice control button to get me anywhere I need to go on the radio, which I think is a pretty neat new enhanced feature that we have on this particular vehicle. And not to mention, the new setup of this multi-information display makes it so much easier to get the information. You can cruise through the different sets of music. You can choose if you want to go through 36 sets or 36 preset stations, or you could set it to roughly 6. Those are some of the changes that we made in 2015. It is offered in the 2016 model as well. Now to go back, I'm going to go to the information where you can go in and select the difference of this little guy here, the lane departure. Lane departure is a great feature. It's standard, or not standard, but it's offered in this particular package, which the package that I'm sitting behind right now is roughly a $46,253 model. It is on the upper end of the ES. I wanted to demonstrate most of the features that you'd find on this particular vehicle. No messages, and then we also have our setups. Now we can go in and set up our clock. We can set up the PCS, which is pre-collision system. We can go in and set up vehicle settings, which is going to be your scheduled maintenance or your oil maintenance light, if you wish to choose to see that information. Now, what makes this system so nice is it's so easy to navigate through while you're driving, because they've made the buttons on the right side of the steering wheel very easy and manageable while you're driving. Now with the Lexus, we do have the auto lights, which are going to be found right here, and the parking lights. This little hash mark lines up with the parking lights, and then the manual lights. Most of the time though, we leave them on auto. If you choose not to use any lights, with no driving lights, you can turn it all the way off. This inner ring here is going to be for the fog lamps, and just like on all Lexus models, you push this arm forward for brights or back towards yourself a couple times to flash the brights. New instrumentation, a little bit easier to see, more modern. Bringing it down, we do have the auto wipers on this particular vehicle, and the nice thing about that is there is a little hub on the back side of the mirror that gives you that feature. When water goes on the outside of that sensor, it automatically knows to wipe your wipers, and I think that's a very good feature. Then we do have our cruise control down here. We would hit this end cap to turn it on. Now it says radar ready. Now this vehicle is equipped with the optional radar cruise. Now you have 3 different wavelengths that you can send, and by setting it just by holding down the button in short, brief presses will give you 3 different lengths. Now the cool thing about the vehicle, if you want traditional cruise control, you can bring it back towards yourself, this arm anyway, and that will cancel the radar cruise control. Why is that important? Sometimes if a person cuts in front of you and then slows down, you're then slowed down because your radar has been locked onto someone else's bumper. Now if someone goes in between you and that person and happens to drive slower, then you're automatically going to back off and you're going to be driving slower than expected. So you can turn that feature off. I particularly have driven a car like this and find both ways to be very effective. By using the radar cruise control, you also have the pre-collision system that's working alongside of it. And that's part of the nice thing about the radar. If someone were to then jam on their brakes because a deer were to go out in front of them, then your car would automatically slow to avoid the accident. So that is something that is a nice feature. Now, one of the things I want to bring up that Lexus did differently, on the cup holder area, we went with a wood grain. Now, back in the day, it used to be black or black piano look, and that was a very nice look. However, people thought that it did get kind of fingerprinty, and now we also carried that design up through the actual shifting area. And if you notice, we also added a boot, and that boot keeps dust, debris, food, and other kind of spills outside of the actual shifting grid. And that is also a very nice new look to the vehicle. A little bit different style in the shifting handle. They went more with a matte finish to match the matte finish of the drive select mode, as well as the steering wheel. I think they're finally catching on that if you're going to put silver shiny material, try to carry out throughout the whole cabin. They did the same thing with the matte. The matte is carried out, and they did that very nicely. They executed very well. As we close this, now everything looks nice and almond shape, so that nice style is carried out through all. This overall instrumentation panel down here with your cooled seats and your heated seats, heated steering wheel, back privacy curtain, as well as the side seats or side passenger seat here. This is all the same from 2015, so that should feel very similar, as well as all of the buttons up here will feel very similar, and that'd be your driver temperature select, auto, off, low fan speed, high fan speed, mode, front defrost, rear defrost with side mirrors, and your dual feature. Now, one of the cool things that we have when I hit dual, now I'll take my temperature up to maybe, let's say 70. Well, this temperature over here happens to be at 67. If I take dual off, both of the temperatures would go to 70. Now, if I'm driving down the road and I don't want to necessarily have 70 as my temperature, I can go back and click on my voice button here.
Please say a command.
74 degrees.
74 degrees.
And now 74 degrees is on both of my temperature selects. Now if the passenger chooses a different temperature and I were to be down at 68 degrees and I wanted to change my temperature again, I don't want to take my hands off the drive or steering wheel. I can just hit the talk switch button again.
Please say a command.
70 degrees.
70 degrees. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Now you notice only my driver's side changed because the passenger chose to be at 68. So now I can only control 70 as my side because dual mode is on. If I choose dual mode off, then I were to say a different temperature, both temperatures would be the same, which I think is a pretty neat feature Lexus has integrated into this car. We're going to move on up. We're going to have a single CD player. We have our radio modes. And we have the radio right on up here. Now the radio has stayed in the exact style as the 2015, but I have to say we have now really gone the next mile because we can go in and actually select the source, but we can go down here and reorder. Now if I'm a big fan of using my smartphone a lot, I can take my Bluetooth and move it all the way to the top, being my #1 choice, so I'm not having to look for it. Now Bluetooth is up at the top left corner, so if I want to use it later on, my hand knows to go all the way up, hit the Bluetooth without having to worry about finding it in a list. And when I hit the back arrow, it stays right at Bluetooth. So I think that's a pretty neat new feature that they've done 2015 and 16 on up. Now one of the things that I wanted to point out, and there was some argument a long time ago, they brought out this new mouse style in 2013 and 14, and what they decided that this pad here, when you press it straight down, would be your enter button. Well, people felt that it was a little hard, so they brought back the enter buttons on the side, which I have to tell you is a lot easier than relying on the center button. Sometimes when we press on the center button, some of the selections that we do up on top would actually move to the bottom because we're actually pulling back rather than pushing straight down on the button. So 2 new buttons to really make the entering sequence a lot easier to use. Good job, Lexus. It was definitely needed to come back, and thank you very much. Very nice streamlined design. We kept the indentation that we did on 2015 as well. When we go up to the home screen, we do now have a home screen button instead of a map button, and that has also changed in 2016. What we've done here is we can create a 3-stack of information. If I want to change out the FM screen over here, I now made it navigation. If I want to change out another area such as weather, maybe I want to see what's going on around me. And the neat thing about it is I can place it right in the lower left-hand corner, and now Middleton shows up. But if I happen to drive through Rockford or Chicago, that information is going to travel with me because it's the weather channel and it's done by HD. Now, one of the cool things about the HD product, it is free for the lifetime of the vehicle. It is not like Cirrus where you have to pay any kind of a fee. Now, that is a very, very cool thing. Now, when I want to click into one of these particular areas, like the map, you have this little pink dot that I'm moving around with my mouse. I click on it, and va-voom, there it is. You now have the map. You can also do other options like map mode, and you can do a single map, and that gives you a complete display of one big, larger map. Now, the other cool thing that I want to point out, you can go in and make your map 3 different ways. This is the 3-dimensional look with the clouds and the horizon. You can do north mode up, and you can also do the way that you're driving. Most of the time, people will use this feature, and let me tell you the reason why. Now, down here, we have these up and back arrows. I'm going to choose the back arrow as if I'm pressing it towards the back of the trunk. Now, we're going to notice I'm going to take you to Chicago. Even though I can't drive there in 3 minutes, I can definitely get you down to Chicago by using a cheating tool. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to find Chicago, and I'm going to start using the front button. towards the front of the vehicle, and what you're going to now see is Chicago coming in to the scene. And now we're getting closer. Navy Pier. Let me go down here a little bit. And what I want to show you in the three-dimensional mode that I think is really pretty neat is that you do get true three-dimensional buildings. I don't know if you can see it, but this is South Lake Shore Drive. And as I come up to the different buildings, they're going to be actually architecturally drawn like you'd see them outside your window. Now, I think that's a really cool feature because now when you're driving, it gives you the exact look as if you're looking out the front of the window. You also have Street View down in the lower left-hand corner that gives you the actual one-ways of the road. And you can also pivot the map screen depending upon if you're wanting to see around buildings. Now, if I want to get back to Madison in a very quick click of the button, that's going to be this control right here. Now we're right back into Madison. We're going to zoom in by using this little button here and go towards the front of the vehicle. And there we are. Now, as a glimpse, the three-dimensional quality of the map is very solid, very clean and easy to use, and you also get HD traffic. HD traffic is going to give you green lines, red lines, or orange lines, depending upon the traffic situation. Now, if I zoom out a little bit, I want to point out some things. Now, over here we have the red lines that I was talking about. If you're going towards cross planes, you'd notice that there's a little bit of red, or maybe that there's a lane closed. But over here is actually a traffic warning.
Eastbound US 12 at County Route K lane closed.
So right there, I mean, how beneficial is that when you're driving to automatically know that that is the situation? And you don't have to be in a route to have that information appear, which I think is also another nice feature that Lexus has done. Over here we have two cars that are colliding into each other, so that's letting you know there's a possible accident. So what I'm trying to say is Lexus has gone the extra mile to make sure that you don't have to pay extra for traffic or weather. That is huge. That is a lot of savings. Now with the 2016 models and 15 models, anything new and current. Now we are in a model year change. We do have 15s on the lot as well as 2016s, and this information goes true for both. If I go to this word DEST, there is a 1-year free subscription to Destination Assist. Destination Assist is a live operator who will come on and say, where would you like to go today? And you can simply say, I'd like to go to Dayton, Ohio, and they'll put that address in. Now, why is that important? When you're driving, it makes a lot of sense to just be able to talk to a person on the telematics, which is not using your cell phone data, which is using the car's telematics, and you're able to talk to a live operator, put the information in, and the car will start automatically guiding you to that location. Now, some of the things that people will put in, addresses or names of businesses. So if I said I would like to go to the Cheesecake Factory in Milwaukee, they'll automatically know that it's not in Milwaukee. It might be in Waukesha or something of that nature. They'll get me to that location based on the fact I want to go to that particular restaurant. That is a 1-year subscription, as well as the SOS. SOS is there for your safety. Now, if you have a front collision and you happen to have your airbags go off, a voice will come on over the speaker and say, are you okay? If you're not okay, the emergency contacts that were provided during the delivery process, they would be called to let you know what's going on with the person who's either in the vehicle driving, if they're at the hospital, tow truck, at the Lexus dealership, or so forth. So really, this system here is also a one-button touch for flat tire help, fuel delivery, towing. So, I mean, it does have its benefits as well as any kind of health emergencies. So again, a one-push button that uses the vehicle's telematics to get to outside help, in case if you forgot your cell phone. Overall, there's one last feature I want to talk about that is very significant, and that is the very large frameless mirror. It's a very big and exciting mirror, as well as your home link is now located underneath the mirror, which I think they've done a very beautiful job. It gives you just a lot more visual safety as you're looking out the back window. It's probably about 2.5 to 3 inches larger than the standard mirror, and it is auto dimming, as well as the auto dimming on the both mirrors. So I'd have to say Lexus really did bring the package together on this car. We also have the lights that you don't have to touch. I just run my fingers across these little sensors and it turns on and off, both for the map lights as well as the driving or the main light. So I think that's pretty cool. Overall, Lexus has really hit the mark about bringing out really neat new features for the 2016, with the new mouse that they've created, to the integrated new wood style interior, the seats that they've designed to make it more luxury, interior color combinations, the new boot on the shifter, not to mention the beautiful steering wheel with the easy to get to information, and the center stack of information that really does keep your eyes in the center of the steering wheel, as well as looking out your windshield, normal driving. A very well done improvement both on the interior and exterior of the vehicle, and I hope that you find this video to be useful. I really do spend a lot of time trying to show the new and fun of the vehicle, and if you have any questions and you'd like to see the vehicle in person, please stop by Lexus of Madison in Middleton, Wisconsin, and one of our salespeople would be more than happy to go over that particular vehicle with you. This vehicle also comes in a hybrid, and they've done modified changes to that particular vehicle as well. Blue badging in the front, a little bit different fascia. But overall, if you happen to purchase the vehicle, most likely you'll be meeting me and going over all to most of the features. We try to break it into a first appointment to make it easy to know the everyday use features, and then we do a second appointment where you come back into the dealership, where I then go over the more exciting features like the remote, the in-form applications, things like that, just to help you out. We want to make sure that you learn your vehicle, and that is why I'm here, and I really do enjoy what I do. So I hope to see you in the future. This is Sam Lancaster from Lexus of Madison in Middleton, Wisconsin.